What it do, Niner fam? Now you see I got the big dog Saleh right here, man. And I'm seeing little clippings on certain things. They like, well, Saleh, he could be up for a head coaching job, and he's gonna be one of the main candidates for a head coaching job because I guess some teams just fired their head coaches. Yeah, he probably could be. I'm pretty sure. I thought they offered him some bread to stay for a minute because their contracts are different than player contracts, so it don't go against salary cap or nothing. So I heard they offered him a lot of bread, but I don't know how many years, whatever it is. But now, if it was me, now Saleh, yeah, he's a good coach, whatever it is, and he was decent over there with the Jets. He was decent, and not with Aaron Rodgers. When he was with the other guy, and the rookie that was a first round pick, hey, they had a good game. They was playing some good games. Remember, they beat the Eagles. They was winning games. It wasn't until Aaron Rodgers came and tried to take over the team and start getting people fired and messing up their draft picks by getting Devontae Adams, and he was still losing, and that messed it all up. I'm saying, but when he was just coaching, it was just him, and he had all authority on everything. He was a good coach. Now what I would do. Okay, he's back with the Niners. Okay, now you see the impact he made the first time around, so that's where we get the Fred Warners from, and I ain't gonna say Bosa, but Bosa still respected him because he was there when Bosa was rookie. Bosa, he was his first round pick. He was a baller when he was in college. So I'm saying, but now he respected him, and he respected his coaching on the defensive side. Kittle respected him on that coaching and defensive side, and Kittle tight end, but Kittle know that he physical and he liked the way he coaches the defense. Now, if it's me and I'm Saleh, I'm like, well, why would I leave? I basically got me a ball of clay as far as the defense. You got a bunch of young minds, and right now he got the if you can get the young minds to think like you want them to think, and they're young minds. Okay, now whether we go to the Super Bowl, playoffs, whatever it is, that defense is going to be his little ball of clay that he's building up to make something real nice. Now, next year, people would say, oh, well, the defense was nice if you could add on a few pieces, like a Bosa, which is coming back. Mykel Williams, your first round pick, who was a rookie this year, so next year, he's going to be even better. Fred Warner, like I said, the defense, like I said, the pieces he's going to be able to add to it next year. He's already good right now. The defense is solid right now. Remember, the defense literally had to carry the offense in the last game, and I don't have a problem with that. If you playing any game, yeah, you want both the offense and the defense to be at a high level. But sometimes, hey, the other team gets paid too. So if the other team got a good defense and they stopping our offense, I want to see our defense win the game. Facts. And vice versa. If we see other teams that's seeing and their offense is seeing that our defense is young and they're going to start trying to exploit some of our weaknesses or missing people, or they know what they're, okay, I expect the offense to carry the load. That's just how it goes. But if Saleh's going to, go somewhere else, you got to start from scratch. And it's a big difference when you deal with a whole team. If it's me, take this Niner defense, because where else you going to get a younger defense like this? A young defense. Saying, take this Niner defense, mold it into your way, completely, your thing. You still going to get the Fred Warner, the Mykel Williams, the Bosa. You're getting all that back. So you get more firepower. Add it on to the firepower that you have created yourself. Regardless what the Niners do, going into next year, your defense going to be dominant. These are facts. Your defense going to be dominant. Now, whatever goes on the offensive side, what your defense going to do. Now, you get a Super Bowl ring with the Niners. You take them to the playoffs and your defense is dominant and you do all that. You go to the Super Bowl, you do all that with your defense. Well, you're going to be able to pick whichever team you want to go to. And 9 times out of 10, like I said, yeah, you can go to a team, but you want to start from scratch? You can. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Man, ain't nothing wrong with that. But I always see if you're a defensive coach, it's hard to get your offense together. Look at the Steelers. Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach. That's why the defense is always way ahead of the offense. See, Tomlin got put in a nice little position. Okay, when he came to the Steelers, look at how many Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers they had. From James Harrison, Palomalu, and they had Hines. They had so many hitters on that team, but the defense was always completely violent. Always. Wasn't until Roethlisberger came, and most of those Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers on that defensive end, once they left, well, now it was about the offense. That's where you get the ABs acting a fool. Okay? That's where you get that from. Remember Willie Parker. Remember, the Steelers had a bunch of offensive players that never stayed. And then you had Roethlisberger that you kept entirely too long. He was old. And then now when the Steelers coach says, all right, we're gonna do a reset. We're gonna get a quarterback. And they got a quarterback. Where dude at? I think he's a backup for the Raiders. I think he's at the Raiders right now. Remember, dude then bounced all over. He straight left. Forgot dude's name, man. Forgot his name. He was the first round. They picked him number, 20-something. Because the coach didn't know how to develop him. Coach, remember, the Steelers' motto is, as long as we got a winning season, they ain't trying to go to no Super Bowl, nothing. As long as we have a winning season, that's all they care about. And then once you exploit their defense, well, now you're not really worried about their offense. You're just not. That's why, look, they had to beg Aaron Rodgers to come there. And the reason I bring all this up, I bring the Steelers up because that's a prime example of a defensive-minded head coach being a head coach. Sometimes it don't work out it don't work out the way you want it to. It just don't work out the way you want it to. Okay? Now, we can be technical and we can break down with the Ravens. Remember, the Ravens had Ray Lewis. He was literally the coach of that defense. He didn't even need the head coach. Come on, think about when they won the Super Bowl. The first time, when Ray Lewis went off. Nobody even gave a damn about what's that, Brian Hoyer, I think they had over there. Nobody cared about that. The wide receivers, and nobody cared. The defense was dominant. They could win a Super Bowl like that. Then when they did have Flacco, remember when they did have Flacco with the Ravens? You know what I'm saying? Really, you playing against the Niners and Colin Kaepernick, if it wasn't for the defense, we had them. Now, you get rid of all that, and you still got the Ravens. You still got the Ravens. But now you got Lamar Jackson, who ain't been to a Super Bowl. All these years. Ain't been to a Super Bowl. You done interchanged so many running backs and wide receivers, all that stuff. Still ain't been in the Super Bowl. And then, where's that defense at? See? It's because, like I said, you can go on with these defensive-minded head coaches, and I don't want him to be one of those. Y'all remember Wade Phillips? Wade Phillips, I think that was for the coaches, the Cowboys head coach. And they fired him. He became a defensive coordinator. Y'all remember this? He became a defensive coordinator for the Rams. How you think the Rams went to the Super Bowl that year and they lost? They went to the Super Bowl that year and they lost because I think they had a backup running back or quarterback. I think that was not Stafford. That was the other dude. First Super Bowl he went to, but they lost. Wade Phillips, the head coach, came back and became a defensive coordinator, and that's why the defense was so good for the Rams. They knew they couldn't do that again, so they went and got all them Ndamukong Suh and Von Miller. They had to go do all that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to be like that. You with the Niners, you already got your team set. Don't worry about the offense. The offense is going to do its thing. Defense, do your thing. See, I can name plenty more head coaches that really ain't, you know what I'm saying? You got a good head coach. You got everything. Just do your job. Let me know what y'all think about this. Leave it in the comments. Peace. I'm out of here.